Welcome to myFace, myStory, Voices from the Craniofacial Community, with your host, Dina Zuckerberg.
Good evening. Can you see me? Oh. Good evening. You are tuned in to our very first episode of myFace, myStory, Voices from the Craniofacial Community. We are a group of peers that see each other, hold space for one another, and support each other as we navigate life while living with craniofacial conditions. I am Dina Zuckerberg, Director of Family Programs at myFace. I was born with a cleft lip, a hearing loss, and no vision in my left eye, but it has never stopped me from doing anything I've wanted to do in my life. I had 6 surgeries, years of orthodontics, and speech therapy growing up. I was teased in school. Kids would say mean things, and I would sit alone sometimes on the school bus and in the lunchroom. I always say there is power in the shared story, in knowing you are not alone. So anyone out there, I see you. We all do. It's about people like us being seen and heard, about sharing stories from the craniofacial community. Thank you so much for joining me tonight as we discuss the mask we wear, both literally and figuratively. We wear smiles that will light up a room. Sounds of cheer and laughter echo in the hallways. Songs of joy and gratitude move our feet and our soul. Beneath this veil of good fortune and blessings is a mask that hides our cries and sighs. Behind the glory of triumph and victory is the masking of untold stories of struggles and tribulations. We wear masks that let the world in, but prevent us from engaging with the harsh realities of how we may feel in the world. We wear masks that let the masses think otherwise. This is a safe space, a space where voices of the craniofacial community are heard. Before we move into today's episode, I would like to introduce these beautiful people holding space with me today. Please remove your mask and tell us a little bit about yourself and about your condition. I'd like to first start with Pat.
Hi, everyone. Whoops, let me get this. My name is Patricia Simon, Pat or Patty, and I was born with a cleft lip and palate, and I'm very happy to be here today so that I could talk to you about what it's like to wear a mask and the challenges of taking that mask off and revealing the real self. And so I look forward to a great discussion, and I hope to be very authentic with all of you. So thank you.
Thank you. Emily, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, good evening, everybody. My name is Emily Krebs. I'm 23 years old, and I was born with Apert syndrome. Apert syndrome is something that not a lot of people have heard of before until they met me, and I'm very thankful that I have it. It's made living my life very difficult. I would get stared at, people would make fun of me, and I've learned to deal with it. And taking my mask off has truly been a wonderful experience for me. So I'm thankful that I took the mask off and that I get to share my story with all of you tonight as I continue to teach and educate people about Apert syndrome.
Thank you. Margaret, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Margaret Sarah. I'm 34 and was born with golden heart syndrome, which is another syndrome that almost no one has heard of, including doctors that I've had to educate. I've had over 30 surgeries, and taking the mask off has been difficult, but very worthwhile. I'm glad to be here with everyone tonight.
Thank you. And Nick?
Hello, everyone. My name is Nicholas Buccio. I'm 49 years old. I was born, I was never told, I never had a specific name to what my condition was. Basically, I was just told that, I was born in the 70s before all this technology is available that lets you know how your child is progressing and growing and, inside your mother, and if everything's going okay, whatnot. The only explanation I ever really got was I was a large baby. I was over 10 pounds. My mother was a smaller woman, and my head had a lopsided appearance to it, and it kind of threw the symmetry of my face off, really. And I think something I like I said, I was never really told exactly. My nose just didn't, develop right, and I had only minor cosmetic surgeries, but the criticism, the teasing, the bullying that I had has lasted me a lifetime, and I'm proud to be here. I didn't even know an organization like this existed, and I'm proud to. It's taken me a lot, but it's the first time I'm ever really just doing something like this and discussing it publicly. Thank you for allowing me to be here.
Thank you all. So we are going to be vulnerable tonight. We're going to talk about the paradigm shift that was 2020, specifically the mask we wear. To stop the spread of COVID-19, mask wearing and the preventative methods became normalized. There were already lots of roadblocks for people with craniofacial conditions, but the pandemic introduced roadblocks that didn't exist before. For some of us, wearing masks currently has been an unexpected blessing, while for others of us, that time offers unique challenges. I know for me, as someone who was born with a hearing loss and raised lips, when everyone is wearing masks, I have a hard time understanding people, and that is difficult and frustrating for me. So I'd love to hear from you, what are the obstacles that you encountered with the mandatory face coverings? Pat, would you like to answer?
Sure. I think one of the big things was when you were wearing a mask, there was no identity associated with you. All you could see was other people's eyes, and you couldn't see anything beyond that. And so that was very hard to connect with other people. And it was very easy to hide behind that mask because everyone just looked the same. And so one of the challenges was expressing yourself when you're out in public. There was really no way to do that because your face was being covered. And so I think one of the things about wearing a mask and taking it off is exposing yourself to people's reactions to how you look, and turning that inward and being able to deal with maybe uncomfortable situations that brings out in you. And so I think wearing a mask indeed helped with the pandemic, but it also made you blend in with everybody else. And with that brought some uncomfortable feelings.
Yeah, I think it's a very good point. Margaret, did you want to add something?
Yes, as Pat said, I agree that it's kind of a mixed blessing, and one of the biggest challenges I found was as someone being hard of hearing and having a rather soft voice ordinarily was communicating with other people, hearing them and being heard. Although also it could be nice to have the most obvious parts of my craniofacial condition masked, as it were, but I found the drawbacks were far eclipsed the benefits.
Thank you. So I'm wondering, did you find that wearing a face mask changed how you were treated in public? Did you like that? Emily, I see you nodding.
Yes, definitely. I feel like wearing a face mask was also a benefit in a way because not only did it help me hide part of my face, but it also decreased the level of stares and attention I would get when I would go out in public with family, when I would go to social events with friends. It just, wearing a mask was also just a way for me to hide my true identity and to hide part of my face. Just because that I've noticed I would get stared at less because of a mask, because nobody could see, and they could see my eyes, but they couldn't see anything below that. So I think wearing a mask definitely helped prevent myself getting made fun of because nobody really could see my face. So there was really nothing they could judge me for. So I did like wearing a mask for that purpose.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it really, and I've heard this from a lot of people in the craniofacial community, that it sort of leveled the playing field, I think, for people, so everybody interested enough, right, was wearing a mask. And so you didn't have to necessarily deal with that because everybody was wearing a mask. I heard from a mother recently whose son is in elementary school and he was wearing a mask this whole year, craniofacial difference, and he was able to, no one necessarily knew because he really wasn't removing his mask. And the mother actually reached out to me recently because she's worried now he's transitioning to middle school, the masks are going to be removed, and how is he now going to be received in middle school. So I think it's true. I think it really leveled the playing field for everybody. I don't know if anybody has anything to add on that, but yeah.
I think that's a big issue, is that with kids and adults, now that we're able to take our mask off, there's so many people out there that for a year and a half or more have not seen people with craniofacial differences. And now they're being exposed to seeing people with scars or differences, and they don't know how to react. They do stare because it's been so long. And so I think that's one of the challenges now, is how to cope with taking your mask off and dealing with the stares and the comments, perhaps isolation of not being included in things. And so that's one of the difficulties I think now is removing the mask and getting those type of the attention that we didn't have when we wore the mask.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that because, especially with people who have been working remotely and isolating, everyone has to relearn in a way how to react and communicate in public. So there's much less of a filter for everything. But when it comes to seeing people with craniofacial differences or anyone who looks different, that even the normal politeness, it's a delayed reaction for it to kick in.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
I just wanted to say, I think everybody, I mean, I don't necessarily, it doesn't have to be a craniofacial issue, but I think a lot of people found some sort of comfort behind having the mask, whether maybe they had a skin condition, maybe they had a social phobia, maybe they had different types of things that maybe not were all craniofacial related. I think it maybe leveled the playing field for a lot of people. So I think it's going to be tough for everybody to really see the real the real you. And I think it's just a tough thing that maybe people got used to the mask and now they're going to have to say, well, now everybody's going to see the real me, and I'm really not sure if I want to show it. So it's going to take an adjustment for everyone.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be an adjustment for everybody in some ways, whether you have a craniofacial difference or not. I think just the idea of going back out into the world and socializing with people again is going to be in some ways challenging after we've been so isolated in our homes for so long. So I think, but I think there's as an added with having a craniofacial difference or a difference in general. I'd like to move on to shift our focus to look at how we have figuratively worn masks, some of us since we were children. And I know for me, I feel that I've always hidden some part of myself behind the mask. I think in some ways we all do that. So I'd love to ask, why do you think we wear a mask, and how do you think wearing a mask protects us? And again, this is in a figurative sense. Yes, Nick? Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry if I interrupted anyone. I think to wear why we wear masks. There are certain times of the year we do. Halloween, it's a celebration. It's to pretend that you're something that you're not. And in a way, I think people do this to try to be something other than yourself, as a form maybe of protection, not letting the world see the real you. I kind of look at it as, I'm 49 years old. I'm a huge Batman fan. Superheroes try to hide their identity from the outside world because they don't want to seem people to know their real identity, because it's something about when they put this mask on that they feel they are invincible or that they can do anything. Plus they have other powers. But I think people wear it for many reasons. It could be protection, like from the elements, a job, something like that. It could be celebration. It could be many different reasons why people wear masks.
Absolutely. Does anybody have anything else to add? Pat, do you have anything?
Yeah, I think people wear masks primarily so that they don't get hurt, and they're protecting themselves from unkind words and gestures. And so you have to develop some sort of shield, like you said, to protect yourself. And so I think that it is a journey. I am 60 years of age, and as you get older, I think it's easier to slowly remove that mask to reveal the real you. And that takes, to me, that takes years of getting comfortable in your own skin and setting limits within yourself as to what is acceptable and how you feel towards others and expressing that. And so it takes a long time to get to that point where you feel that you can start to expose yourself to people that you feel comfortable doing. And usually it starts with family and friends, but it's also within the craniofacial community. So when I was young, there was nothing like this available. There were no forums in which you could express how you were feeling. And so I think that this is one of the ways in which this will help people take their mask off and feel more comfortable in their own skin. And so that's just my feelings.
Yeah, I know for myself, it's taken me, like you, it's taken me a lot of years to get comfortable and to feel and to remove that mask and to be vulnerable and to show more of myself. And also, I think for a long time, but I know for myself, I hid in some ways behind the mask. I created a different identity for myself when I was younger. And I think as I've gotten older, like you, I've realized that I don't need that anymore. I can be, and I think when you do that, you can have deeper relationships with people too.
Definitely.
So, does anybody have anything else to add? Yes,
Yeah.
Margaret.
I agree with both of you that I think masks are to protect us, and also I think there are almost layers of masks. I mean, when I would discuss about surgeries and everything with different people, it varied based on who they were, what I felt they could handle, and even with good friends, if I would very rarely vent about surgical stuff, I would do it, but always end on like a joke or sarcasm. And it wasn't until college when I had some friends that they were amazing friends and helped me with stuff. I had between sophomore and junior year of college, well, mid junior year, I had 11 surgeries. And they helped me with stuff because I went back still with a tracheostomy and my jaw wired shut and all kinds of things. And they helped me and they were able to handle it. So then I would tell them more. And also, at that point, I just didn't have the energy to wear any kind of mask. Although even then, I would, except for rare occasions, still talk about it in a very dry kind of way. But maybe that's not a mask. Maybe that's just who I am.
That's good. I agree. I think, yeah, that's the other thing. Is it really just who we are? And we think we're wearing masks, but it's really just who we are as an individual.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it's what you've been doing for several decades, maybe it is who you are.
Right. Really, I hadn't thought of that. Does anybody have anything else to add?
I just wanted to add that I know now, like with social media and things like that, especially certain dating sites and things like that, people tend to alter their appearance because they want to seem, more attractive and get more, people to notice them. But a lot of times that's not, when they actually meet this person that they're going to meet, they don't look anything like their picture. And I think it's because people have this perception of what, the ideal face, the ideal body is, the ideal everything. And they're too scared to actually just show their, real selves. And it's very apparent because there's, such things as when people, I forget what they call that, when you alter your appearance on, Facebook or whatever to make you look other than what you really look like. So I think that's a form of a mask too, because you're not really putting your true self out there. You're putting maybe what you hoped you could look like, but you actually don't.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess my next question would be follow up to that is, do you think we can wear a mask and still be authentic at the same time? I think I wonder about that sometimes. Pat, do you have anything to say?
Well,
Mhm.
it's kind of a complex question, because if you really are authentic, you're revealing who you really are.
Mhm.
And so I think when you do wear a mask that you're protecting part of yourself, I don't know if you're truly being authentic. But you also need to wear a mask to protect yourself from certain hurts that occur in life. So I think part of wearing a mask and realizing that you're wearing a mask is looking at yourself in the mirror and accepting your beauty, that it's from within,
Mm.
and saying that, you know what, I'm good enough. I may not be an actress or on commercials or whatnot, defined by beauty, but what you see is a beautiful person just trying to um, do some good in the world.
Yeah, I agree. And so that takes me to my next thing, which is to anyone that's listening to this podcast that this conversation is resonating with, and I'm sure it is. I want you to know that hiding isn't the only choice. Just by choosing to listen to the sounds of love, respect, and self-worth, we can empower ourselves to remove the mask and show our vulnerability. So I'd like to hear from anyone. Have you accepted yourself for who you are? If yes, when do you think you made the choice to accept yourself? I don't know if anybody.
I know, for me personally, I took a long time to accept myself and to really accept that this is who I am. I know it's been recently, I've tried to really accept that I'm not going to change myself. And it took a long time for me to accept, being that this is my normal. I've struggled with the word normal since I was little, and what it means to be normal and have a normal life and be accepted. And I've had, lengthy conversations with my family, sometimes with my friends about it. And I've come to accept that that this is me, and it's taken a while, but I think the impact that I've had on so many people when they meet me and they realize that what I've been through and the obstacles that I've had to face in my life to get to this point, they're so blessed and impressed by me, and they tell me, you're doing so good, because this is who you are and this is how far you've come. So I've definitely accepted it. It's definitely taken a long time to get here, but it's been worth it.
Yeah, I think it really is a journey to get to that point. I know it's taken me a lot of years to get to that point. Does anybody else have anything?
It's also taken me quite a while. I mean, some of the worst years of my life were junior high school. For example, when I switched schools from fifth grade to sixth grade, and people that I wasn't going to school with saw me for the first time, I was called, every name in the book. I was ridiculed about everything. And my mother God bless her, she's still with me, thank God. But she would tell me to just ignore everyone. And I said that's really impossible to do because they're all saying it to me, and there was nothing for me to go to. I mean, there was no one for me to go to. This was in the 80s. There was no such thing as bullying as they have today. It was just teasing, playground stuff, whatever. So during the times when you were supposed to be developing your self-confidence and your self-image, I was being told how different I was, how ugly I was, how am I from another planet? I look like the Elephant Man. I Frankenstein, everything. But after a while, after I high school, really, I kind of was on my own. I started new at a college, and from then on, I mean, I've had a lot of struggles with mental health, my self image. You know, um, I've dealt with a lot of mental health issues over the years because of things from when I was younger. But I can say after 49 years on this planet, I can look in the mirror and like what I see. I do like what I see. And I have a voice now. So if somebody was to say, something to me, I would let them know what I thought back to them instead of taking it and running down the hall like when I was a young boy, and I would just look at the floor because I didn't want anyone to look at me.
Yeah, I think finding a voice is so important. I always I think about that for myself, that I really feel like I've found my voice more recently. I think in some ways my voice was silenced when I was a child, and I think it's so freeing once you find your voice and once you find yourself and find your authentic self, and to be vulnerable. I think is so hard, but I think it's really it allows for more meaningful relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have anything else to add?
Dina, I just wanted to say that for me, growing up, I used humor as a way to be accepted. The jokester, everything was, funny. And then as I got older, and it really wasn't until my early 50s that I woke up one day and I just said to myself, I can't keep up with this always being up for everybody else, always being the happy, put on that mask. And so it was then that I just said, I got to tell people how, that, yeah, I have bad days just like everybody else. And having the ability to say, no, I don't want to go to this, or no, I don't want certain people in my life, and that was okay. But it has been a journey, and like everyone on the panel says, I think it takes a long time to get comfortable in your own skin, so that you do, Nick, like you said, so that you do have a voice, and say, you know what, that's not acceptable, or this is how I feel. So
If I can just touch on something that Patty just said, when I was growing up, I mean, I was in my family. My dad lost his hair fairly early, and I really didn't. My hair line was not a good one. In my family, I mean, so I was bound to lose my hair. I was terrified of what was going to happen, like as my hair, receded. And as the years went on, I just, it just got to a point where my niece encouraged me to shave it off, and I was like, I can't do that. I can't. I'm too scared because I do have some stuff still from when I was a kid, and I had an operation that I have some scarring from and stuff. And one day, she just started doing it shorter and shorter. She would cut my hair for me, and then one day she shaved it off, and I've been totally fine with it ever since. I actually love it. I love it, and I think it looks much better than having just a ring around the back of my head. But I was terrified to do it. I was, and I don't know, maybe that was something from above that he said, all right, I got you on this one. But I'm very thankful that, I know it's not perfect, but it's okay with me. I never thought I'd be able to say that.
Thank you for sharing that. I just want to say that we've had some comments and questions coming in on myFace's YouTube and Facebook channels, where we're live broadcasting this episode, and I want to take a few minutes for some audience questions. And we've actually had a question already come in, and that is, I've experienced myself in all spectrums of acceptance. I have accepted that I am constantly evolving, that self-love is a journey. My question to the panel is, how do you maintain your confidence? Great question. Does anybody want to answer that? Yes, Margaret.
I appreciate how the question asker phrased this, and it's true. It is constantly evolving, and self-love is a journey. And for me, maintaining confidence, it's the kind of thing where I've had to redo it many times over my life. When I was in middle school, which is a terrible time for everyone, but I also had multiple spinal surgeries, and which were hard, and I was in a lot of pain. And I also learned who were my true friends and who weren't. And I learned, okay, I have people who care about me, who don't care that, I have to sit down a lot or whatever. And I learned to let go of friendships that were unhealthy and embrace the ones that were. And in high school, have that many surgeries, but again, it was all about navigation and who's going to accept you for who you are and who appreciates you without you having to change. And in college, as I already alluded to, I had a lot of surgeries, and I learned who was going to help me with it, who didn't feel things were weird, or who adapted, because I get it was weird. It was weird for me. And also, I just didn't have the energy to deal with trying to put on a front. And I think the way to maintain your confidence is to recognize what it is about you that you're good at, that you like, that the people who matter like. And that is the key. And focus on that.
Great, thank you. Emily, would you like to add to that?
Yes. I think, a key way to maintain your confidence is just to learn how to be yourself and learn, like Margaret was saying, learn that the true friends will come through no matter what. They will help you, no matter what obstacles come your way. And I think the key for me with my confidence is just to keep moving forward. Don't let somebody ruin your confidence with negativity. Don't let somebody ruin your day by, them looking at you, a certain way. Like, just don't let somebody ruin your confidence just because they are trying to find some way to make fun of you because you look different. Confidence is something that takes time to have. I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with. I know me personally. Sometimes I struggle with it, but I think the more you go out, the more you keep moving forward, the more you try to express yourself and be yourself, I think that's where the true confidence comes out of, because you're showing who you are and you're not letting somebody talk down to you or get to you in a certain way. And having, again, like Margaret was saying, having true friends really is the key to that confidence, because not only will they lift you up, but they will never tear you down. And I think it's definitely important to surround yourself with those true friends, because they're the ones that will stick by you no matter what happens.
So true. Thank you. And Nick, I think you wanted to add something.
Well, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody messes up in life. Everybody has bad days, good days. You try, you fail. Everybody does it. I think if you surround yourself with people who love you for who you are, no matter what, like you make a mistake, you do something wrong. If you have true friends, you have family, you have people that love you, and at my, I guess you would call it advanced age, I don't honestly really care what other people think of me, other than those people that matter to me. Those people that matter to me, my family. I have a few close friends, my fiance's family, my son, the people I choose to surround myself with. If they don't agree with something I'm doing, and I do, it's okay to agree to disagree. But again, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I've learned to ask myself this, and this is how I keep my confidence level. I've learned to say it doesn't matter what other people think of me. What do I think of me? So if you're okay with what you're doing, and you're okay with, how you're living your life, don't let anyone tell you different. Don't let anyone dim your shine. Be who you want to be, and, just go from there. Keep on improving yourself, whatever that might entail.
I think that is so perfectly said. And I think I want to end it on that, because you guys were amazing. And I really want to thank each of you for sharing so much of yourself today and every day. And I'm hopeful that these conversations can help others better understand our stories, while also creating a kinder world for all people with craniofacial differences. So thank you, everybody. And I just want to say, for 70 years, myFace has been dedicated to changing the faces and transforming the lives of children and adults with craniofacial differences by providing access to holistic, comprehensive care, education, resources, and support that pave the way for better outcomes. And so you can learn more about myFace by visiting myface.org. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to myFace's YouTube channel to catch future live broadcasts of myFace, myStory. You can also listen to the audio recording of your favorite podcast on your favorite podcast app, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, and iHeartRadio. If you'd like to receive email reminders of new episodes, sign up at myface.org/mystory. That's myface.org/mystory. As we wrap up today's episode, I thank you for joining us and want to leave you with this quote by Audrey Hepburn. For beautiful eyes, look for the good in others. For beautiful lips, speak only words of kindness. And for poise, walk with the knowledge that you are never alone. Thank you.